Welcome. Today, we are looking at the Ten Commandments and the Sinai Covenant. This is a key topic in your CRS exams. Pay close attention. Let us begin. First, let me give you background on the journey to Sinai. After the Israelites left Egypt, they traveled through the wilderness. God led them with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. They crossed the Red Sea on dry ground. Pharaoh's army pursued them, but the waters returned and drowned the Egyptians. The Israelites sang a song of praise to the Lord. They continued their journey. They came to the desert of Sin. They grumbled against Moses because they had no food. God provided manna from heaven. They came to Rephidim. They had no water. God told Moses to strike a rock, and water came out. The Amalekites attacked Israel. Joshua led the army, and Moses held up his hands. As long as Moses held up his hands, Israel prevailed. When he lowered them, Amalek prevailed. Aaron and Hur held up his hands. Israel defeated Amalek. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came to visit. He saw Moses judging the people from morning to evening. He advised Moses to appoint other leaders over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Moses listened. Then the Israelites came to the wilderness of Sinai. They camped there in front of the mountain. Now let me explain the preparation for the covenant. On the first day of the third month after the Israelites left Egypt, they came to the desert of Sinai. Moses went up to God. The Lord called to him from the mountain. He said, "This is what you are to say to the descendants of Jacob, and what you are to tell the people of Israel. You, yourselves, have seen what I did to Egypt, and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." Moses went back and summoned the elders. He told them all the words the Lord had commanded. All the people responded together, "We will do everything the Lord has said." Moses brought this answer back to the Lord. The Lord said to Moses, "I am going to come to you in a dense cloud, so that the people will hear me speaking with you and will always put their trust in you." The Lord told Moses to consecrate the people. They were to wash their clothes and be ready on the third day. On the third day, there was thunder and lightning. A thick cloud covered the mountain. A very loud trumpet blast sounded. Everyone in the camp trembled. Moses led the people out of the camp to meet with God. They stood at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was covered with smoke, because the Lord descended on it in fire. The smoke billowed up like smoke from a furnace. The whole mountain trembled violently. The sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder. Then Moses spoke, and the voice of God answered him. Now let me explain the Ten Commandments. God gave the Ten Commandments to the people. They are recorded in Exodus chapter 20 and Deuteronomy chapter 5. Here are the Ten Commandments. The first commandment: "You shall have no other gods before me." God alone is to be worshipped. The people were not to worship any other gods. The second commandment: "You shall not make for yourself an idol. You shall not bow down to them or worship them." The people were not to make any carved image or likeness of anything in heaven, on earth, or in the water. They were not to worship idols. The third commandment: "You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God." The people were to treat God's name with respect. They were not to use it carelessly or falsely. The fourth commandment: "Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work." The Sabbath was a day of rest. It was a sign of the covenant. The fifth commandment: "Honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you." Children were to respect and obey their parents. The sixth commandment: "You shall not murder." Human life is sacred. Murder is forbidden. The seventh commandment: "You shall not commit adultery." The marriage relationship is to be honored. Adultery is forbidden. The eighth commandment: "You shall not steal." The property of others is to be respected. Stealing is forbidden. The ninth commandment. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. Lying in court is forbidden. Truthfulness is required. The 10th commandment. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Coveting is the desire for what belongs to another. It is a sin of the heart. The first 4 commandments deal with the people's relationship with God. They are about worshiping God alone, avoiding idols, respecting God's name, and keeping the Sabbath. The last 6 commandments deal with the people's relationship with others. They are about honoring parents, not murdering, not committing adultery, not stealing, not lying, and not coveting. Jesus summarized the commandments into 2. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Now, let me explain the people's response. When the people saw the thunder and lightning, heard the trumpet, and saw the mountain in smoke, they trembled with fear. They stayed at a distance. They said to Moses, "Speak to us yourself, and we will listen. But do not let God speak to us, or we will die." Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. God has come to test you, so that the fear of God will be with you to keep you from sinning." The people remained at a distance, while Moses approached the thick darkness where God was. Now, let me explain the covenant ratification in Exodus chapter 24. The Lord said to Moses, "Come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. You are to worship at a distance, but Moses alone is to approach the Lord." Moses told the people all the Lord's words and laws. They responded, "Everything the Lord has said, we will do." Moses then wrote down everything the Lord had said. He got up early the next morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain. He set up 12 stone pillars representing the 12 tribes of Israel. He sent young Israelite men to offer burnt offerings and sacrifice young bulls as fellowship offerings. Moses took half of the blood and put it in bowls. The other half he splashed against the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it to the people. They responded, "We will do everything the Lord has said. We will obey." Moses then took the blood and splashed it on the people. He said, "This is the blood of the covenant that the Lord has made with you in accordance with all these words." The blood sealed the covenant. The people were now bound to obey God's laws. God was now bound to protect and bless his people. Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and the 70 elders went up the mountain. They saw the God of Israel. Under his feet was something like a pavement made of lapis lazuli, as bright blue as the sky. God did not raise his hand against these leaders of the Israelites. They saw God, and they ate and drank. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me on the mountain and stay here, and I will give you the tablets of stone with the law and commandments I have written for their instruction." Moses set out with Joshua his aide. He said to the elders, "Wait here for us until we come back to you. Aaron and Hur are with you. Anyone involved in a dispute can go to them." Then Moses went up the mountain, and the cloud covered it. The glory of the Lord settled on Mount Sinai. For 6 days the cloud covered the mountain. On the 7th day the Lord called to Moses from within the cloud. To the Israelites, the glory of the Lord looked like a consuming fire on top of the mountain. Moses entered the cloud and went up the mountain. He remained on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Now let me explain the significance of the Sinai covenant. The Sinai covenant is also called the Mosaic covenant. It was made between God and the nation of Israel. The covenant was conditional. God promised to bless Israel if they obeyed his laws. He promised to curse them if they disobeyed. The 10 Commandments were the core of the law. The covenant was ratified with blood. The blood sealed the relationship. The covenant also included detailed laws about worship, social justice, and daily life. The tabernacle was built so that God could dwell among his people. The priesthood was established to mediate between God and the people. The sacrificial system provided a way for sins to be forgiven. The Sinai covenant was temporary. It pointed forward to a better covenant. The prophet Jeremiah spoke of a new covenant. He said, "The days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with the people of Judah. It will not be like the covenant I made with their ancestors. I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they will be my people. For I will forgive their wickedness and will remember their sins no more. This new covenant was established by Jesus Christ at the Last Supper. He took the cup and said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you." The law written on stone tablets is now written on human hearts through the Holy Spirit. A common exam question asks you to list the 10 Commandments. Here is a sample answer. The 10 Commandments are: you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony. You shall not covet. The first 4 deal with our relationship with God. The last 6 deal with our relationship with others. Another exam question asks you to describe the ratification of the covenant in Exodus 24. Here is your answer. Moses built an altar and set up 12 stone pillars. He offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. He took half of the blood and splashed it on the altar. He read the book of the covenant to the people. The people promised to obey. Then Moses took the other half of the blood and splashed it on the people. He said, "This is the blood of the covenant that the Lord has made with you." The blood sealed the covenant. The leaders of Israel then went up the mountain. They saw God and ate and drank. Let me give you a quick summary. God brought the Israelites to Mount Sinai. He gave them the 10 Commandments. The first 4 are about loving God. The last 6 are about loving others. The people promised to obey. The covenant was ratified with blood. Moses spent 40 days on the mountain receiving the law. The Sinai covenant pointed forward to the new covenant in Jesus Christ. Keep reviewing, keep practicing. See you in the next topic.